And then one officer got a really clean shot straight into Jared's chest. Hey guys, what's up? My name is Sky Webb and I'm here to talk about a true crime story that I cannot get off my mind. But before I get started, I just want to put out a little disclaimer that I mean no harm to any of the victims or the victims' families, and I wish everyone who was hurt within this story that most peace and solace are in rest or in recovery. With that out of the way, happy True Crime Thursday. Welcome back to my channel, or just welcome. If you can't already tell by now, I am dressed as none other than Mrs. Harley fucking Quinn.
You're so screwed.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean?
And I'll get to that in a second, but first of all, this is the second installment of my Halloween episodes, and I am super fucking excited to be Harley Quinn. If you want to see more like behind the scenes kind of stuff, make sure you're following all of my socials, which are all linked in the description down below, so that you can see some behind the scenes makeup, hair, and chaos, because this wasn't easy. Not a great result for so much work.
Nothing's happening.
Oh!
So for those who don't know me, I dress up as Harley Quinn every single year for Halloween. I cannot help myself. I have very poor makeup skills, and this is pretty much the only thing I can do because the entire thing is a mess. So I feel like I'm good at being a mess, you know? Do what you're good at. Today, this actually ties in very well with our story. Today we're looking into the 2014 Las Vegas shooting, which was carried out by a man and a woman who were married and inspired by the Joker and Harley Quinn. And I mean, don't get me wrong, if I could do Joker makeup, I would have done the Joker, but this is where we're at. Jared and Amanda Miller met and married in 2012 in Indiana before then moving on to Las Vegas. And Jared, just like the Joker, had quite a lengthy criminal record, although unlike the Joker, this guy's crimes were pretty petty, minor, little shit. It consisted of mostly minor drug charges, but there wasn't an assault and battery in there, and most of Jared's time was spent on probation. Jared was very political, but he also loved conspiracy theories. And when you got a little bit of politics and a little bit of conspiracy theories and a lot of love for your country, he had a lot of love for America, things tend to go weird. Jared was known for being very anti-police and anti-government, and he didn't believe in conforming to the rules, because I mean, who would want to conform to the rules? I wouldn't. He felt very strongly in his heart that the government was all out to get us. But this was in 2014. This wasn't 2020. He didn't have that much motivation the way that we do. He was very outspoken about all of his beliefs and unpopular opinions, and he spent a lot of time voicing these unpopular opinions to people who didn't really even want to hear it. He would often film YouTube and Facebook videos where he would stand in front of the American flag or the Confederate flag, and he would express how evil the government was and how much he hated them and how much he wanted to hurt some of the people that were involved with the government. Like, there was some people that he just really wanted to hurt or kill because he didn't like their role in whatever they were doing. In some of these videos, he was even dressed as the Joker. He was dressed as Mr. J, wearing crazy hair and makeup and talking about America. He also, like the Joker, enjoyed violence a lot, and he would post a lot of it and share a lot of it on his Facebook page, and it would be very confronting to a majority of people. He would post videos where the police are getting murdered or hurt or bashed or attacked for no reason. It wasn't out of self-defense or anything like that. It was for no reason. And he would share terrorist attacks, and he would share videos of people being senselessly killed or senselessly hurt. But he didn't think that it was senseless. He thought that there was actually a lot of meaning behind it, and that was something he stood behind. He was happy for these people to be killed as long as there was meaning. As long as it was anti-government and anti-police, then who gives a fuck, right? Now here's Mrs. Amanda. She didn't have the same type of passion for politics and anti-government sort of things as Jared did, but she did have a great love for Jared and she didn't like the law. So that kind of went hand in hand. And one thing that they shared in common was their love for comic books and in particular villains. She loved comic book villains, especially Batman villains, especially none other than Harley fucking Quinn. And she would dress up as Harley Quinn and it was all over her Facebook. And just like Harley and Joker's relationship in the comic books, there was a bit of a power dynamic between Amanda and Jared. Jared was the one who made the couple's decisions. Jared was the one who was passionate about his opinions, and he was the one who formed these opinions and beliefs that were then shared with poor Amanda. I mean, not poor Amanda, but like, she didn't think of much for herself. The only thing that was true to her that was never influenced by Jared was her love for Harley Quinn, and that was it. Amanda was absolutely in love with and obsessed with and just absolutely romanticized the fuck out of Harley and Joker's relationship. And then her relationship started to mirror their relationship. And if anyone knows anything about Harley and Joker's relationship, is that Harley doesn't really get off very well in the relationship. There's a bit of a power dynamic and Harley just kind of has to sit back and take all the abuse, which isn't fucking fair. Obviously the Joker was very controlling. He was very manipulative and he played psychological games with Harley's head. But Amanda, she just romanticized Harley so goddamn much that she didn't even care that she was being controlled. She didn't even care that she couldn't do what she wanted to do. She didn't even know. She just wanted to be like Harley so badly. And it was all over her Facebook. It's still there. You can still look at her Facebook and it's actually quite sad to see because like her love for these villains was almost childish. Like it was just a love for villains. Whereas his is evil and anti-government and political and ridiculous. She just liked to get dressed up. And what girl doesn't like to get dressed up? I went through her Facebook and all she posted was how excited she was to live in Las Vegas and how it was a brand new start and how she was so happy and how she was dressing up as all these different characters, especially Harley, and she had these beautiful photos and it's just really sad. All I can do is imagine her posting that little 12-y Facebook quote that was like, she is fearless and crazier than him and she was his queen and God help anyone who dared disrespect his queen. That was her vibe. On the 8th of June 2014, the couple visited a pizza restaurant in the main strip of Las Vegas. And they sort of sussed out the restaurant before they went in. They saw how many people was in there, who was in there, and then they decided to enter. Inside, they found 2 police officers, Igor Scaldo and Alan Beck. These police officers were on their lunch break. They weren't doing anything wrong. They were just eating pizza. But as soon as the couple walked in, Jared pulled out a handgun and then he shot the officer in the side of the head. He continued to shoot the police officer in his head, in his chest, in his neck, and then Amanda started shooting too. Both officers were killed just like that, for no reason. And then Jared decided to tape a note onto the back of Officer Beck's back. The back of his back. And on the note it read, "This is the revolution." And he kept exclaiming this to the whole pizza restaurant. And so did Amanda. They were just like, "This is the revolution. This is the revolution." And everyone was like, what the fuck? We don't want a revolution. The couple also left behind a Nazi swastika on top of the dead body of the police officer. And a lot of people think that this was because they were like white supremacist Nazis, but then a lot of their supporters, and they do have supporters, because there's some crazy people out there that love this shit. So their supporters feel like the reason they left a swastika was to actually say that the police are the ones who are the white supremacists and not them. But I guess we'll never know. After this, both Harley and Joker, or should I say Jared and Amanda, they took the police officers' guns out of their little holster thingies, and then they yelled some more stuff at their audience, because they had a fair bit of like people in the restaurant who were watching these murders. And then after that, they just fled and they ran to a Walmart. Once in Walmart, Jared started shooting like really hard at the roof. Like, and when I say really hard, I don't mean the bullets were really hard, because obviously the bullets were really hard, but he was like putting work into it. Like, he's walking in being like pew 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 pew, like real dramatic like. So then Jared starts screaming for all of the workers and the customers to get out of the Walmart, but then some people were like, what the fuck's going on? We're in Vegas. Are these like stage performers? No one even thought that it was real. Like, they had never even seen real guns shot into the roof before. So the police at this point were sort of following them. They knew where they were, but they were a bit confused because they just didn't understand why they were running into Walmart, because, I mean, running into Walmart, you're essentially cornering yourselves. So then the police were like, do they have a plan? Like, what's going on? Do we follow them? Should we not? Some people started fleeing the place, calling 911, so obviously that helped get the police there too. But some people decided to kind of hang back, and they were going to try and take back the Walmart. Like, they were going to try and fight back against Jared and Amanda, who were stocked with guns. Why would you do that? They didn't even have weapons. Only one other person had a gun in the Walmart, and his name was James Wilcox. So he decided that he was going to come around the corner, because Jared couldn't see him, and he had his gun aiming at Jared, and he was going to take a shot and see if he could win Walmart back for everyone, like peace for everybody and all that. What he didn't know though is that the nice innocent woman standing next to him, that was Amanda. And she was on Jared's team. That's his wife. Like, she's gonna help him. So as soon as Amanda saw James Wilcox with his gun aiming at Jared, she shot him. It was a little bit sad because he was trying to help Amanda. He started yelling for Amanda to get out so that she didn't get hurt. And then she shot and killed him. Like, what happened to manners? After this, everybody fled the Walmart. Nobody wanted to fight back because they were like, oh shit. And at this point, the Walmart was completely surrounded by police. So by now, the police had been taken to where the security footage is of the entire Walmart, so they knew exactly where Amanda and Jared were, and they were able to send officers in and like navigate them towards where the safest area was and tell them like where they're hiding. But before they really made contact, they just started shooting. So they got into a pretty bad gunfight between all these officers and Amanda and Jared. Jared and Amanda did their best to sort of barricade themselves. They were getting stuff off all the shelves and they were using whatever they had to sort of like build a barricade between them and the police, but it wasn't a very good barricade. I mean, they were also shooting at the officers, but they weren't as good at shooting as the officers were at shooting back. So that didn't really work for them. And then one officer got a really clean shot straight into Jared's chest and it killed him. And as Jared died, Amanda was just sitting there watching the life flow out of him, and she didn't know what to do. She was being sprayed with bullets and she was covered in like Walmart shrapnel, and there was really nothing that she could do anymore. And so she just thought to herself, like, what's the point of life without Jared? So she got her own gun and she shot herself. She was later rushed to hospital because she didn't kill herself very well, like at first. But then when she was at hospital, she was announced dead anyway, so I guess she got what she wanted. When the couple were investigated and the police searched their home, they found a very, very detailed plan of what they were actually going to do. And their plan wasn't to go to a stupid pizza restaurant. Their plan was actually to take over the whole courthouse. They wanted to take over the courthouse and start executing public officials because, you know, anti-government and that. They spoke about the revolution in their plan, and it was really obvious that the two thought that they could actually get away with it, but they couldn't. The police found a backpack with the couple, you know, after they died, and it was just like filled to the brim of like guns and ammunition and, you know, just some handy things like a little knife and like a little rope and just, you know, protective sort of things. Like, they really thought they were going all out on this. They thought it was going to be like a long time and they needed all these supplies, but they died like straight away. So it's really quite a sad story because 3 innocent men died for no reason. 2 officers and 1 person who's trying to help everybody else, you know, just died senselessly. And if it wasn't for those 3 men dying completely senselessly, then I'd probably feel bad for Jared and Amanda, because I just feel like they're so out of their minds that they didn't really know what they were doing. And then it just makes it really hard. Like, if they were a little bit crazy, what were they supposed to do? Amanda believed she could really handle this. And this was something that she could and should do for love, for Jared. Just like Harley would do for Joker. But she couldn't handle it. And that sounds really sad to me. I don't know. I don't think she really comprehended, you know, like the consequences of what she was doing. I think she would have just sat there and been really happy that Jared was giving her attention and, you know, thought that it was like fun, like writing their own comic book, not really writing like a reality like plan. Like, I just don't think she understood what it really meant. She just seemed really childish. But I don't know, that's just my opinion and the way she came across to me. Go check out her Facebook though. You definitely need to check out her Facebook before you form a complete opinion. I'll try and put some of it in here, but I mean, there's only so much a girl can do. Let me know what you think about this one in the comments down below, or you can head over to my social medias, which are all linked in the description down below, and let me know what you think about it there. Also, tell me what you're dressed up for as Halloween. Have you gone as Harley Quinn before? Who would you go for? And who else should I dress up as? I need suggestions. Make sure you give this video a big thumbs up if you feel like it. I would really appreciate it. And be sure to subscribe so that you can see all my new videos. I post every single Thursday all about true crime, and I would love to have you be a part of it. Make sure you guys are being safe out there. Don't eat pizza, never fall in love, and most importantly, never shop at Walmart. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe. Bye.